Hello friends, nice to see you today. I'm Mrs. Urbach and this is Charlie, and we're so glad that you're here today. Before we talk about the quilt on the wall behind me, I wanted to show you something. This is a box, just a simple box. It doesn't have a top. But what I want you to notice about this box is the corners. Do you see how these corners have a diagonal line from the edge of this corner inward? And that's made by, there's 4 pieces of wood, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if there are 4 of the same length sides to this box, what shape is it? A square. Good. Each of these pieces of wood was cut at an angle. Can you see that? So if I looked just at this top piece, it was cut inward on both sides. And this piece was cut inward at both sides. And then when you put them together, they get this nice diagonal line. That kind of a corner is called a mitered corner. And you might see mitered corners if you have a picture frame or something like that in your house, because it just makes the corner look really nice, doesn't it? Well, now that we know about mitered corners, look at the quilt behind me. First of all, what do you notice about the shapes on the quilt? What shape do you see a lot of? Squares, yes. And do you notice the corners on those squares? They have a diagonal. So what kind of corners are those? Mitered corners, good. Well, the quilter named that quilt Mitered boxes. Mitered because of the corners, and boxes because they look like square boxes. Isn't that fun that with our quilt today we got a little bit of woodworking information too? And if you were with me when I talked about the letter K, do you remember that quilt? And we talked about the man who designed the fabrics for that quilt? His name was Kaffe Fassett. Well, Kaffe Fassett also designed not only the fabrics for this quilt, but he designed the pattern. Isn't that cool? The sound in that word mitered leads us to our letter of the day. If you know what that letter is, go ahead and say it out loud. I'm going to draw it here and we'll see if your guess was correct. There we go. M. Did you guess the letter M? Well done. This is a big M. Let's draw a little m. M. And M makes the sound we make when we've just eaten something exceptionally delicious. What do we say? Mmm, right? That's the sound M makes. Now look at the M. How would you make that shape with your body? Go ahead and try. And go ahead and say the sound it makes while you make the shape with your body. I'm proud of you for trying. Let's put our M on the mitered boxes behind us. Excuse me, Charlie, I have to move you because it's time to play I Spy. I spy with my little eye a cartoon character whose name begins with M. Do you see him? Who's that? Mickey Mouse. Good. I spy with my little eye something that hangs in the sky at night that begins with the letter M. Did you spot the moon? Well done. Now, I see an animal that says something that starts with the letter M. Do you see these cats? What do cats say? Meow. Meow begins with M. There's one more very special word that begins with the letter M. Do you see a lady holding a baby? there's a good chance that she's the baby's mommy. Mommy begins with M. Let's sing our ABCs together. And what do you want to do when we get to the letter M? Okay, you go ahead and do that. Here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Well, our story today is about a little girl whose name begins with M. Madeline. Do you see the M in her name? M. And Madeline is a little French girl, and this story takes place in Paris. And one of the ways I know it takes place in Paris is look closely at this picture. Do you see this big tower here? That's a famous tower called the Eiffel Tower. So whenever you see a picture of the Eiffel Tower, you know it's a picture taken from Paris. Madeline. Story and pictures by Ludwig Bemelmans. In an old house in Paris that was covered with vines, lived 12 little girls in 2 straight lines. Let's count the little girls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In 2 straight lines, they broke their bread. If someone sits down to break their bread, what are they doing? They're eating. And we don't know if it's breakfast or lunch or dinner or a snack. But if we talk about breaking bread with somebody, we just mean we're sharing a meal. And brushed their teeth and went to bed. Look at all those little girls sharing a room. I bet that's fun sometimes. And other times I bet they wish they had their own room, huh? They smiled at the good and frowned at the bad. Oh. What is bad in that picture? Ah. And sometimes they were very sad. Look at that picture. Why do you think they're sad in that picture? Yeah, it looks like somebody hurt himself and they feel bad for him. They left the house at 9:30 in 2 straight lines, in rain or shine. The smallest one was Madeline. Look at Madeline in this picture. Can you tell what that person is doing? This thing here is a measuring tape, and he's measuring her for her clothes. Just like you might go to the store and have to try on some clothes, this would be Madeline's store where she gets her clothes. And they measure her and make them just to fit her perfectly. She was not afraid of mice. What room in the house is that? Can you tell? I see knives and a stove. Kitchen. Are we supposed to have mice in the kitchen? No. But look at Madeline. She's not afraid. She's going to catch him. What would you do if you saw a mouse in your kitchen? She loved winter, snow, and ice. What are they doing in this picture? Ice skating. That looks fun. To the tiger in the zoo, Madeline just said, "Pooh, pooh." I guess that's their way of saying she was not afraid of the tiger. But look at, she still has her hands behind her back because she knows not to reach out and touch it. Smart girl. And nobody knew so well how to frighten Miss Clavel. Now, Miss Clavell is the woman who's in charge of the little girls at the school. Look at Madeline in this picture. What is she doing that might scare the person in charge? Right, she's balancing on the bridge. I would be scared if I were in charge of Madeline because I wouldn't want her to what? Fall. That's pretty dangerous. In the middle of one night, Miss Clavell turned on the light and said, "Something is not right." Little Madeline sat in bed, cried and cried. Her eyes were red. And soon after Dr. Cone came, he rushed out to the phone and dialed Danton 10-6. "Nurse," he said, "it's an appendix." Everybody had to cry. Not a single eye was dry. Madeline was in his arm in a blanket, safe and warm. So he's the doctor and he's carrying her out. Where do you think he's taking her? Good guess. Let's find out. In a car with a red light, they drove out into the night. What kind of car is that with a red light and the red cross on it? That's an ambulance. Madeline woke up 2 hours later in a room with flowers. Madeline soon ate and drank. On her bed there was a crank. And a crack in the ceiling had the habit of sometimes looking like a rabbit. Look at that crack in the ceiling. Can you see a rabbit? So where is she? Her room has flowers in it that maybe somebody brought to her, and she has a bed with a crank, and there's a nurse. She's at the hospital, yes. Outside were birds, trees, and sky, and so 10 days passed quickly by. One nice morning, Miss Clavell said, "Isn't this a fine day to visit Madeline?" Oh, how nice. They're going to go visit Madeline in the hospital. What are they getting for her? Flowers. It's always nice to bring flowers to people in the hospital. Visitors from 2 to 4 read a sign outside her door. Tiptoeing with solemn face, with some flowers and a vase. In they walked and then said, "Ah," when they saw the toys and candy and the dollhouse from Papa. But the biggest surprise by far, on her stomach was a scar. "Goodbye," they said, "we'll come again." And the little girls left in the rain. They went home and broke their bread, brushed their teeth, and went to bed. In the middle of the night, Miss Clavell turned on the light and said, "Something is not right." And afraid of a disaster, because what happened the last time she had to get up in the middle of the night? Yes, Madeline was sick and had to go to the hospital. Oh dear. Miss Clavell ran fast and faster. And she said, "Please, children, do tell me what is troubling you." And all the little girls cried, "Boo-hoo! We want to have our appendix out too." Why do you think they want to have their appendix out? Certainly not because they want to be sick, right? Oh, they liked some of the other things that Madeline got from being in the hospital, like the toys and the candy and stuff. I understand that, don't you? Good night, little girls. Thank the Lord you are well. And now go to sleep, said Miss Clavell. And she turned out the light and closed the door, and that's all there is. There isn't any more. Well, today's song has M's in the title, of course. We're going to sing The Muffin Man. What two words in that title start with the letter M? Right, Muffin Man. Good. Now we're going to swing the song a little bit today, but the words are the same. So if you know the song, please join in and sing with me. Ready? Do you know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man? Do you know the Muffin Man who lives in Drury Lane? Yes, I know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man. Yes, I know the Muffin Man who lives in Drury Lane. He's never in a hurry, never has a worry, bringing joy to everyone. Then he knows his work is done. You should know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man. You should know the Muffin Man who lives in Drury Lane. Isn't that a fun way to sing it, to kind of swing it a little bit? So if you want to hear another grown-up singing that song, there was a famous jazz singer from a long time ago named Ella Fitzgerald. And she sings that song with a big band, so there's lots of like saxophones and trumpets and other horns, and it's really fun to listen to. So I'll put a link in the description below the video, and if you want to listen to her sing it and you can sing along with it, you could get a grown-up to find that video with you. Well, let's sing another song. This next song is called Moon River. Do you hear M in moon? And I chose this song because I just think it's a really pretty song, and I think you'll enjoy it. Moon River, wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style someday. Old dream maker, you heartbreaker, wherever you're going, I'm going your way. Two drifters off to see the world, there's such a lot of world to see. We're after the same rainbow's end, waiting round the bend, my huckleberry friend, Moon River and me. Well, I can't believe our time together is already finished. I've had so much fun with you today. As you go around the rest of your day, listen for words that begin with and then you'll know they start with what letter? M, right. So maybe you'll see the mail carrier, or maybe you'll get some mail today, or you'll have meat with your dinner. There's all kinds of M words. Well, before we go, hold out this arm and wrap it around your body, and hold out the other one and wrap it around the other way, and give yourself a great big hug, because you are special and you are loved. Goodbye.